Teachers of Reddit, what is the smartest most creative way of cheating that you've seen? Not sure if this would work anymore, but if I had a paper to write on a book I didn't read, I would find a well-written paper online, then translate the entire thing from English to German, German to French, French to Spanish, then Spanish back to English. Pull the original paper and the new one up side by side and clean up the grammar on the new paper, and you've got the same concept, but written just different enough to not be plagiarism. Worked like a charm. My teacher shared with us a story about how, since she allowed eating during her tests, one person pulled out a giant bag of M&Ms and ate a specific color corresponding to a /B/C/D. It was a 2-student duo and they only got caught when another student ratted them out. Not the student but the teacher. So, the teacher, let's call him Mr. A, had a reputation for being a phenomenal teacher who had every student engaged/invested in his class, no matter how mundane the subject. Anytime he asked a question, every student's hand would shoot in the air with them shouting things like "call on me" or "I know the answer." Simply, Mr. A developed a reputation in the district as one of its best teachers. Fast forward a couple years, and I'm grabbing coffee with Mr. A, and I ask him, "What's your trick? How did you get every student bought in?" His response, "Well, I told the kids every time we had a visitor in class, I need you all to raise your hand, like I was giving away free candy. But if you don't know the answer, raise your left hand. If you do know it, raise your right hand, so I know who to call on, and we all look good." Worked like a charm. I want to see the one day where everyone in the class raised their left hands. My elementary school in China, whenever visitors were expected, the teacher would literally rehearse that class like for the entire week before the visitors came. She would tell us all the questions that will be asked and then pick a student for each to coach them the answer. I think we even rehearsed slightly wrong answers so that it looked real. I could bet you $1 that this is still common practice in China right now. I was supervising a final chemistry exam along with another coworker. Not 15 minutes in, a hand slams down on a desk, and I turn around expecting the worst, only to see my coworker angrily shouting at a pair of really frightened 10th graders whose desk he smashed. Amidst the shouting, I caught the words, "Morse code." The guy proceeded to take them to the office. I called a hallway supervisor to take over and ran after the group. Apparently, the kids were silently tapping the answers amongst themselves in Morse code. Not even with their fingernails, just their fingertips. I never heard a thing. My coworker happened to catch B in Morse code or something. I honestly thought he finally went crazy solely because of his appearance. Picture Robin Williams in Jumanji going, "What year is it?" I'm 100% sure that if this coworker weren't in the room, they'd have gotten away with it for sure. So they learned Morse code, but couldn't study for a test. Amazing. Learning A, B, C, and D in Morse code is definitely easier. In elementary/middle school we had to write a paragraph each week featuring all the vocabulary words included in that unit. One clever kid wrote something along these lines. One day kid's name had to write a paragraph for English class. He sat down, picked up a pen, and used these words in it. Proceeds to list out all the words. The teacher only let it go once, because she never saw that happen until then. In high school I was in a computer-based learning program and our science tests were taken digitally. However, they used a program where once you entered the test your entire screen was locked into the test and the only way to exit it was to click the finish button on the test or turn off your computer, which effectively did the same thing. Another feature of the program was that once you were in the test, anything you had in your clipboard, copied text, was not able to be pasted into the answer sections on the test to prevent the only other way to cheat. However, after creating my own classroom at home, making fake tests, and playing with the program to figure out a way to cheat, I realized that it would allow you to copy things from inside the test and paste them elsewhere in this test. The developers of the program also did not take into account the sign-in screen, where you have to find the test and enter it. Long story short, I could copy my entire page of notes I had taken on the test material, paste it into the section where I would enter my login information, then recopy it, enter the test and paste it again in one of the answer sections, using it to answer every question, and then deleting it before clicking finish. I work as a web developer for a college. Stuff like this makes me paranoid about everything I do. Some smartest CS tried to break everything in our portal one semester, just out of boredom. Best student worker I've ever had. The most dangerous mind is a bored genius. My exams that used a graphic calculator, T84, required us to show the examiners a proof of reset screen before the papers started, so instead of actually studying for my papers, I painstakingly redrew the proof of reset screen pixel by pixel in the T84's pixel art program and stored all my notes in it. Our calculator had a storage feature too. Once you open the battery cover it turns off, and on next start it shows the reset screen. We had to open the cover and let the teacher press OK to reset. No way of cheating here. You all are such sophisticated cheaters. I just stuck a cheat sheet in the T cover and peeked at it when the teacher wasn't looking. Thanks oblivious high school statistics teacher. Old school my brother. College physics. Girl with a really intricate tattoo on her leg wrote formulas in between the tattoo lines. Even looking closely you couldn't tell unless you knew what you were looking for. You could tell it was test day because she wore shorts. So then how'd you find out? I think I saw this one. Teacher is checking out the student's leg and ends up finding out she's cheating. He threatens to suspend her unless. Oh yeah, I saw this too. There was only her, another girl and the teacher in the exam room. They all looked 25 plus sitting on primary school desks. And even though it was physics, there's an elementary style map of the world on the wall. High school kids recreated a Snapple label where the nutrition panel on the back had all the answers, formulas, etc. Only got caught because I'd never seen the flavor before and wanted to see how much sugar was in it. I can imagine how worried they were when you inspected the bottle like, oh, how much sugar is in TH? You're all failing. I can name the worst, and I've definitely shared it before, but it wasn't my student, it was a friend's. She downloaded a worksheet for the kids to do while she was in a meeting of some sort. Kids found the worksheet's answer sheet online and proceeded to copy the answers. Last answer said student responses will vary. And that's what one kid wrote as his answer. Other times you'll see one kid misspells something or gets an answer wrong, and everyone who copied from him has the same error. This happened to our entire group of chemical students last year. Everyone in the classes were cheating on the homework because the answers were always online. In the second semester, someone made the mistake of writing answers may vary, and the teacher finally realized we were all cheating. In a lot of my college courses I wasn't allowed to use anything higher than a T84. So I took the guts of my T89 and swapped it into my T84. Never got caught. Oh dang, that's the way to do it. I remember a story from my chemical professor. This student all semester who wasn't showing up to class kept getting his score improved significantly after regrades. They got their tests back, had a day to review them, and were allowed to resubmit for a regrade. They knew he was cheating because of the unlikelihood of the grading mistakes on multiple exams, but the TAs who graded it couldn't confidently say it wasn't their handwriting. Ultimately it was an office worker for the department who figured it out near the end of the semester. His staples were angled different than the exams handed out that were mass stapled. He was recreating the test, printing it, re-answering it, and then grading it in the same pen as the TAs, and had done a good job copying the writing style. One of my old teachers told us a story about a student who had rigged up a tiny scroll of paper in a wristwatch with notes written on it. He turned the scroll by winding the watch. He ended up getting caught because he was winding his watch so damn much during the exam, but the teacher loved the creativity. I was a TAR for anatomy and physiology. The professor would ask for me to sit in on finals to prevent cheating. One kid came in with a vitamin water. No worries. Halfway through the test the professor noticed they kept turning the bottle and squinting. This goes on for another 20 minutes. Professor goes up, grabs the vitamin water bottle and rips off the label. It had a crub sheet written on the back. The students had gone to the effort to make a fake vitamin water bottle label and write notes in the back. The professor was impressed by the creativity and decided to give the student a 0 and not report them to the academic committee. He should have just studied and done that so he could write "suck fat nuts" on the inside, lol. Imagine if the prof notices him squinting at the bottle and angrily snatches it, only to realize it has "you can do it" Greg written on the inside over and over again. You have been visited by Caring Doggo. Like this video and subscribe to Team Orange and you will be taken good care of for the next 10 days. I upload new videos every day. Until then, check out my other videos and enjoy the rest of your day.